In this video, we are talking all about senior assisted living in and around Bremerton. So if you have a family member who you're thinking about putting them in assisted living, then this video is for you. What's up, everybody? It's Cassandra Lopez with the Living in Bremerton channel. If you're new to the channel, you're going to want to go ahead and subscribe. This channel is all about living in Bremerton and the surrounding areas. So whether you are new to the area for the first time, or maybe you've been here a while, just want to learn more, be sure to subscribe and tap that little bell so you get notified every time I drop a new video so you never miss a single one. Assisted living, senior living in Bremerton. So people come here for the relative affordability, the scenery, and it's no different for seniors who are looking for a place to age in place or maybe even stay at home and have an in-home caretaker come to their home. There are lots of different types of in-home caretaking and or assisted living facilities, and we'll kind of touch on the different areas. Ideally, the facility that you find will be close to major roads, it'll be close to medical facilities, it'll be close to shopping, and generally when those are built out and designed and platted and all that stuff, they tend to locate them in those areas anyway, so you're not going to find one like way out in the boonies where no one can get to. Okay, so the different types of assisted living facilities. So there's independent care. So this is for seniors who maybe have a very active lifestyle. Maybe they don't need a lot of medical care, like day-to-day stuff. They just want kind of like a community feel, but kind of like an all-inclusive room and board, but also with planned activities and good transportation and that sort of stuff. The next step up in assisted living facilities is one that's more hands-on. Maybe your family member needs help with their day-to-day tasks, like remembering to take medication or meal planning or getting dressed or that sort of thing. So that's another higher level of care, and there's our communities that support that. There are memory care facilities specific to those who have memory care issues or some sort of dementia. They have specialists on hand to help them with that. And most facilities have some sort of continuing care option, so your family member can age in place, and as their needs change, their care changes as well. The cost of these facilities is going to change depending on the level of care needed and the amenities provided and the staffing provided and this sort of thing, right? So you could probably budget for like around $3,000 or more a month. Now, there is such a thing as long-term care insurance. So if you had the foresight to get that a long time ago, or your family member did, then that will likely cover the cost of the facility. But it's really important to check with the facility first to make sure that they take your insurance. Otherwise, it would be an out-of-pocket expense. Oftentimes, families really struggle with coming up with that huge amount of money every month. And so what ends up happening is they end up like selling mom or dad's home to help paying for that. So that's definitely part of that conversation. So the $3,000 mark was for the independent living, and oftentimes those seniors are, active, they're independent, they don't need day-to-day care, and so they will opt to sell their own home, and they're like, I'm just going to sell my house and move into an assisted living. And while that sounds like, why would somebody do that? Well, think about it, right? It's like all-inclusive, like room and board, you never have a bill anymore, like all you do is pay for your fee to be there, and like you get to be there. So, fewer things you got to think about. Now, if you need the assisted living with, day-to-day care and helping with medications and dressing and meals and this sort of thing, so that's going to be an increased cost, maybe like around $5,000 a month. So that's when we're really getting into the weeds with, how expensive these places are, which is where that long-term insurance can really be beneficial. Now, there are programs that have like state programs or like discounts based on income and this sort of thing. If that is your case, make sure that you're exploring all the options there. Who has programs that can be affordable to your situation. Another set of filters that we need to work through to choose the right facility. One of them, you're going to want to go to the Washington State Department of Social and Health Services. There you can find all the licensure and all of the inspection reports for any facility that you might be considering. So that is a good place to start, and maybe you can choose some or eliminate some just based on what you see there. Another thing that you might want to look at is the staff to resident ratio. So obviously the smaller that is, the more attention your loved one is going to get, and the more hands-on care they will receive. It also means that maybe lower down on the list might be activities and amenities. A lot of them are going to have the same like standard base layer of amenities going on and activities. And then there'll be some that, you know, have more than others. Maybe some are pretty close to the waterfront and they have like little field trips to the water. Maybe some have like a little shuttle and they can shuttle you to like the movies or whatever. So there's lots of things that different facilities have planned for different residents. Another thing to consider is what kind of meal plans do they offer? Do they have options for people who have food sensitivities or allergies and stuff like that? Another thing that is really big to look at is what kind of medical care do we have on staff? So is it an independent facility where they have minimal medical care and they're, you know, but maybe they are very close to a hospital or something like that? Or is it a full assisted living where they have in-staff or in-house nurses and in-house doctors and things like that to help with on-hand emergencies? Another thing to think about is how close is it to home? Like, how close do you want to be to the facility? Do you want to be within an hour? Do you want to be within 2 hours? Making sure that your family member, whenever they do take residency in this facility, how often can you go see them and that sort of thing. So you want to make sure that it's proximal to you, and maybe that's the first place you start, because, you know, if it's too far away, if it's the, you know, I like to say to my clients, if it's the right house but it's the wrong location, then it's the wrong house, right? So same applies to this too. So it's important to note that an assisted living or independent living community is not the only option. There are options for seniors to stay at home and age in place and have a live-in nurse or at-home caretaker. This person can come do their laundry and their dishes and make their meals and that sort of thing and make sure they're getting their meds and taking care of themselves, all the way up to a full around-the-clock, you know, 24-hour live-in nurse. So there's lots of options on that scale there depending on the care that you need, and the cost may be similar. You're just going to want to check that out from area to area. It changes, and of course based on the level of care that is needed, but it may be comparable to like what a facility would charge, and so maybe that's the best option, because if the cost is going to be the same and they can stay at home and they'd be more comfortable, then maybe that's the best option. I personally don't have any affiliation or any experience with any of our local senior facilities. I just am not at that stage in my life yet, but I know they're around, they're everywhere. I drive by them all the time. So I'm gonna link a few of them in the description below just to give you a place to start. And I'm also gonna put the website for Washington State Department of Social and Health Services, just so you can kind of like get eyeballs on that, get familiar with the site and how to search around and stuff. So that way you can kind of get your search going and start to filter out what works and what doesn't work for you. I'm also going to list all of the in-home care facilities. So if you're a family member and you decide that you want to stay at home and age in place, then those are some great options for that as well. So in summary, we're all going to have aging parents who need somewhere to stay, right? And maybe some of us are fortunate enough that we can do a multi-generational situation at home. Like maybe my mother will move in with me when she needs care. Considering assisted living for your family member or yourself even is a big decision, emotionally, financially. It's a change in lifestyle completely. So it's a big thing to think about. So I'm happy to provide these resources, although I don't have any affiliation with them. So I can't like rank them in terms of like, oh, this is the best. Like, I don't know. And that's only up for you to decide. But I would love feedback. So if you do select one that you really, really like that you found on the channel, then let me know. And I'd be happy to just make a note of it. So if somebody else has this question in the future, then I will know what kind of feedback to give them. So if you like this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up and subscribe and tap that little bell so you're notified every time I drop a new video. Please call, text, or email me if there's anything I can do to support you. See you on the channel. Bye for now.